So we are actually really on the other side of all of the globe. And we are all connected, not only by the language, by this feeling of poetry, which is, it's amazing. Who only somebody who is writing poetry can understand this, I believe. So it's completely different for us. I'm sorry if I talk for everybody, but I believe it's true. It's completely different to live in a world where people are very material, and for them a tree, it's a tree with branches and the bark and so on, so on. And for us, it's completely different, but probably this is a challenge for our lives. So thank you for the moment, and maybe later to tell you to read one of my poems, or two or three or none, or whatever. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dana. Yeah, we'll be eager to listen to your poems, and I think that Carol should also read something from her writings, because she has only said about social activities, but we would like to see some of her pages, or at least paragraphs, or to listen to them. And in the meantime, Danny has come.
Hello, Danny. Hello, Danny.
Hello, how are you all?
We cannot see you, but I can hear you.
I'm here now. I'm here now.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Okay.
Yep.
So, welcome.
Thank you.
Will Carol read something from her work, or shall we go to another poet and then come back to her? What do you think, Carol?
Keep going. I'll have to look something up. I'll have to look it up.
All right, all right. Then we'll ask Mihaela to pick someone from Australia, because now it's the turn of an Australian friend to introduce himself or herself. So Mihaela, who do you think you'll pick up?
Oh, I have to pick up somebody. Right, let's go with you, Crawford.
All right, great.
Thank you very much, Mihaela and Vasile. It's lovely to see everybody. Next time, I'm just going to put the URL straight into Google, straight into the URL, and I'll be here on time. But for some reason or other, it kept on registering as an image as opposed to a link. So, and Danny had problems with his computer as well. So next time will be better.
Yeah, thanks, Sue. I got there now.
Yeah, I know. Good on you. I remember it's quite a while now ago that a friend of mine said to me, "Oh, you should come to this writers group. It's called New Writers Group." And I said, "What would I want to go to a group of writers for? I mean, what is the point of that?" They said, "Oh no, you would like it." So eventually I turned up to a couple of meetings, and then my friend said, "Yeah, you'll be running it soon." I know. And I said, no, I'm not. Carol is the one who runs it. Thank you very much. But it was a lot of fun, and it as I think Dana was saying about, like, when you're communicating with other poets, and other writers, you get there's a lot of variation of how people see the world, and you get a great diversity, especially in a group like ours, which always functioned as an open door. Anybody could come into the group. We met in a cafe for a long period of time. People would just wander in, play a tune, show us some art, read a poem. It was very, very open to the public. And however, the part that I like about it most probably is publication. I like to see writers get their poem or their story into a journal or onto a online journal, perhaps. Lovely to see work in print. And so in our very humble way, in a fairly amateurish level really of publishing, we just hand over a PDF to a digital publisher and hope for the best. We have managed to publish quite a lot of people in Western Sydney in particular, where when our New Writers Group first started, people who started it said there is not enough in Western Sydney. And if you think, a lot of people would probably realise that Sydney is on the coast. And so the suburbs of Sydney, which is a very sprawling city, they go south, they go north. Obviously, they can't go any further east because they'd drown. And so west is the place where so many of the suburbs are. And there is a big diversity of people there coming from all over the world. They have their language, they have their culture, as well as speaking English. And it's amazing to see what they produce. It's always a great pleasure to be working in that area. But we love the Romanian connection, by the way. That has always made us extremely happy. And it's lovely to have people like Smaranda and Dorian in our group as well, because they greatly add to our own culture, our combined culture. They add to that greatly. Oh, and the other thing is, for me, I edit more than I write. Okay, so please don't ask me to read something of mine. I just tinker with other people's stuff and say, is this okay? Or would you like to change it again? But like, I think you should have not 2 likes in the same sentence. Or something like that.
Okay, good on you.
No, but you can see on the back of Sue Crawford's wall, there is a Romanian poster from one of our events there.
Great.
That is very nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's a... Sorry, Sue, please.
I thought it was only polite to put up something that was a shared success. Romanians and Australians together.
We know that it's more than being polite, I'm sure.
Thank you very much, Sue.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, so Sue is very much involved in what we are doing in Sydney, and we have a very, very tight collaboration, and we edit together and we produce together the Romanian Australian anthologies of contemporary poetry and prose, and we launch together with New Writers Group, and everybody is got involved in this State Library of New South Wales event every March during the governmental program Multicultural March in Sydney.
And we have a good time.
And we have a good time, Danny, yes. And a lot of extraordinary good food, yes.
Of course. Nice people. Always good time. Always a good time.
Weather and food.
Yes.
We were very lucky. We were very lucky with the pandemic that we just squeezed our last event in. So yeah, very lucky.
Yeah, we had a terrible chance there because usually we have this event in the last Saturdays of the month of March, and now somebody came with the idea to have it on the 14th of March this year, and on the 16th the State Library was closed totally. So we were very lucky.
Yeah. Excellent.
You could almost feel the ending, like things being shut down. It was like this breath following you along. You could almost feel it, you know. And the next week, it was kind of everything was shut down. So we were very lucky.
Yeah. This lockdown has affected our life in many ways.
Indeed.
Okay. So thank you, Sue. Later you'll read some of your writings, right?
No, but she can show Zine West. Zine West is a publication for Western Sydney writers and a competition. And Sue Crawford is the editor of this extraordinary annual publication. Yes.
Okay, Zine West. Okay, thank you, Sue. Great.
That is Mihaela's image there.
So, well, it's your way of writing things, putting...
yes.
You use color instead of words, and we paint with words. That's the connection between us. Thank you. I'd like to invite His Excellency the Ambassador Radu Șerban, and for all practical purposes, we call him Radu during this meeting.
Please call me Radu. Don't mention anymore Ambassador, okay?
Thank you very much.
He
is a poet and a writer. We are publishing the English version of his book about Japan, about his years in Japan. a long book. I mean, a book-length history of what he has achieved there. And we also we have published some of his haiku poems books, and we are publishing one, a bilingual one right now, English and Romanian. But I'd like Radu to introduce himself. Please.
Yes, good morning, America, and congratulations for the National Day.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Australia, and good morning, Bucharest. I'm for the first time in this format, so thank you very much, Vasile, if I can call you like this, if you call me for this invitation. So you asked me to speak a bit about me. I arrived on this world in a cold December 1951, a snowflake, you know, in the western part of Romania and Transylvania. And I think my ancestors have in their DNA the poetry, since they used to sing the verses Munții noștri aur poartă, noi cerșim din poartă în poartă. In a non-poetic translation in English, our mountains bear gold, but we beg from gate to gate, something like this. My father was a member of the National Assembly on the 1st of December 1918, voting for the reunification of the country. So, born under the Sagittarius sign, I traveled in more than 50 countries like an arrow, but before that I prepared my voyages by graduating the University of Economic Studies in Bucharest, then with a doctoral degree, and the diploma of Georgetown University. Like a drone on a lime flower, I sipped the pollen of the economic knowledge, not knowing that later on I will use it to sweeten and to shorten the words in haiku. So literature accompanied me everywhere. For instance, when I was posted in Sweden in 1994, I enjoyed being there when the Japanese writer Kenzaburo Oe got the Nobel Prize Award for Literature, and so on. But why haiku? I think haiku fits not only with my profession of economist, but also with my soul formation, soul structure. My haiku ideal started or happened 10 years ago when I was posted ambassador in Japan. My first haiku volume I published in 2012, putting in 3 lines, 3 verses, as in a classic haiku, my impressions from the archipelago. And when a friend asked me to translate them in English, I was totally lost in translation with my bad English. But finally, as it put Robert Frost, the American poet, poetry is what gets lost in translation. But finally, I dared to translate this, and one of my friends helped me to put English, and with the help of Vasile, we published even a volume of haiku in English. In my humble opinion, the poetry is the iceberg of literature, since only 1/5 of meaning is shown in words. But if the poetry is the iceberg of literature, then haiku is the iceberg of poetry. So we have 1/5 of 1/5. Finally, speaking about Japan and me in Japan, let me tell you one of my achievements, recent achievements, when I turned 60. I climbed on Fuji Mount in a atmosphere. Oh. This is a short story of a traveler through time, through continents, through countries, through world, and through life. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, quite interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, Radu. And now I'd like to share my screen with you to introduce a person whom I love very much, Letiția Oprișan. She's an artist, as you can see. Here are some of her paintings. Okay. Letiția Oprișan. And why am I introducing Letiția Oprișan to you? Just to say that, well, she's an old person, I mean, an older person now, and she hasn't done anything all her life but paint and take part in exhibitions, which for an artist is really very important. But last year we published her first book of poems, her first selection of poems. Now, in 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to turn out other 3 books of poems written by an artist. So now you can understand why I use the 3 question for Sue, because I was hoping that she would say, well, I'm actually writing poetry too, and I would like to read some for you.
I'm looking for some. Yeah.
Now, how about coming to Smaranda? Will you please
yes.
and introduce yourself, please?
I'm Smaranda Kafka, New Writers Group member, a storyteller.
Excellent.
I tell you something.
So you are taking after your predecessor, yeah?
Yes, I mean, my husband's. From my predecessor, I have something completely different, but not now. I tell you something differently. Let's start with something about Australia.
Sure.
I was 45 years old when my destiny threw me down under to Australia. I didn't know the language. I did not know the people, the way its country was working. And most important of all, I did not know the inner rules dominating society. I mean, the real ones, the rules upon which the authentic Aussies, people living far away from big city live, such as Lithgow people, a minor small locality in Blue Mountains, where my destiny took me. After living in Lithgow for a while, we decided that it was time to immerse ourselves in the community's life because we understood that regionalism is the only way that Australians define themselves. In those 10 years, living in the Blue Mountains, we learned that the locals favor informality of clothing and dressing down, a so-called larrikinism. This is chiefly an Australian term meaning a kind of non-conformist, complicated by a self-conscious disinterest in accepted routines of fashionable dress and behavior. So we invited our neighbors over Russell and I, for a barbecue. We bought sausages, meat, beer. We arranged everything nicely. We fixed ourselves a nice shirt and silky dress. I knew that they were genuine Australians, but when they entered the house, I was still a bit surprised. They were wearing shorts, he with a blue singlet, she a shirt, both tones, and a sign of larrikinism. Russell was wearing a well-known kind of hat, a cobra, bringing a six-pack in his hands. Greeting, hello, how are you? While we were pointing the way toward the backyard, we passed by our office open door. Russell looked around and smiled. I followed his gaze. He was peering at the diplomas hanging on our office walls. A couple of them were my husband's, but mostly were mine from different universities around the world. University of Bucharest, the Romance Language Faculty, my postgraduate diploma, scholarship diploma from Stendhal University, Grenoble, France, my deep ed diploma of education from New England University, Armidale, and others. I remember he smiled broadly and with a joking voice saying, "You wouldn't need to paint your walls with so many diplomas." I didn't take it badly because he wasn't rude. He was saying that as a joke. We laughed sweetly, sourly. And later on, we learned that the Lithgow people appreciate the newcomers for what they are, what they do, and not on how many diplomas they have. And you know, a person joke actually tells you exactly what he's thinking. Now, why I'm telling you this? Why I'm telling you this story? Because that story turned out to be of substance for me. It opened my eyes. For the first time I understood the diplomas sure are important. You learn a lot of things. Or more important than them are the life experiences you lived during those schooling years. Meeting people who leave marks on your spiritual evolution, people who make you are the way you are now. So that was the beginning of my second life in this realm. After years with a lot of experiences, accumulated a lot of new knowledges, I reached the understanding that a life story doesn't just say what happened. It says why it was important, what it means for who the person is, for who they'll become, and for what happens next. I understood that there is a story behind every person I met in my journey. This was the crucial moment when I felt that I should start telling stories. That was the right time, because there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to plant and a time to uproot. That was a time for uprooting everything. I did feel that I had to write. Still, I didn't have the strength to do it. But I wasn't alone. Strange enough, all my life, when I was in a crisis, at critical moments, I met somebody, a guide, who showed me the way. A guide I always said sent to me from above. This time was Mihaela. She was the one who encouraged me to start writing. She introduced me to New Writers Group and the two amazing ladies, Sue Crawford and Carol Adams, who helped me in learning how to find my unique voice and develop original ideas, breathing life into my characters. While attending the new writers group meetings, I understood the writers need others writers around them because they become family that understand them when our own maybe sometimes doesn't. I was blessed to meet Sue, Carol, and Mihaela. They are special people known for their passion for writers, empathy, generosity, tireless energy, tenacity, vision, and willingness to bring the fight. They have relentlessly given of their time and expertise to achieve a good and fair environment for all members, always underlying the importance of inclusiveness, of a greater diversity and equal treatment for all its members. Starting writing at this time of my life surprised even myself. It was fate, it was destiny, a simple serendipity, or all three of them. Though I wrote small pieces here and there in Romania, mostly in the magazine and newspapers, and a booklet called Jeux Didactiques, published at the Standard University Grenoble. The beginning of the serious writing was in the year 2018, when I got published in Romanian Australian anthology, a short story, Născut din nou, and then other short stories in the following years. Then this year, I took part in Zine West competition with another short story called The Perfect Candidate. And I understand that that story is on the Zine West publishing list. What else? Thanks God, I have finished the novel, ABC-ul unei vieți. I'm at the second editing of it. And currently, I'm writing a bilingual book, short stories in Romanian English. It will be all about me for now. Thank you.
Bravo, Smaranda. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Probably that's why you are in Australia to start to write.
Yes, yes, who knows? Now we don't know each other, but later on, yes, for this reason, maybe. I don't know.
Can I say, so I remind you, I'm the editor-in-chief of the international publish, which is called Destiny Literare, so Destinies, literary destinies, and I'm waiting for you to send me some
and about Kafka, excuse me, about Kafka, my husband is from Franz Kafka's family. From a family from Transylvania, where my grand uncle was one of the most known writers at the beginning of the 19th century. And I'm from a very, very old family where all were priests for more than 250 years. So the family is interesting.
Yeah, so I can't wait to read what you are writing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I send you on the chat the email, yes? Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you so much. I do not know why Victoria Milescu doesn't show up here. Victoria, Victoria, your video is off. All right. So this is Victoria Milescu.
I'm here.
She's a well-established poet, and a very good poet, and also a member of the National Organization for Writers here. We have published several later poetry volumes, and some of them have obtained very nice prizes prizes that we are very happy about, and I think that Victoria could take some time to speak about them too. So Victoria.
Hello, hello. Thank you, Mr. Vasile Poenaru, for your invitation. Hello, Mihaela Cristescu. I'm so happy to see you again at this distance. Hello to Sue Crawford. I know Sue from her illustrations for anthologies where I am included. I say hello to Danny, to Amos, to Excellency Radu Șerban, and happy anniversary to America, because today is National Day of America. I am a poetess, but journalist too, and a translator. I'm graduated Faculty of Philology from Bucharest, at University from Bucharest. I was a teacher, and from time to time I was written many articles. I was contributor to many publications, literary magazines. I've published 30 books, mainly poetry, but I have 2 books of critical articles. Yes. I have a very good collaboration with Mr. Vasile Poenaru at this publishing house. I have many books, mainly in verses, and as he mentioned before, some of them were awarded many prizes. I want to show you some of them. Here is a book, Feeding Illusions. Do you see? Do you see? Feeding Illusions, iluziile care ne hrănesc sau noi hrănim iluziile, is a book I've composed only in English, exclusively in English. It is...
So it's not a translation.
No, it's a creation, directly in English. Yes. Another book in bilingual edition, Cenușaverii, The Ash of Summer, Cenușaverii, bilingual edition.
It's Romanian, French.
Romanian and French. And here is Strada Locustei, Street of Locusts. This book was awarded many prizes, and the most important prize was of the Romanian Writers United. Yes. And here is another book with beautiful illustrations, Porția de existență, Ratio of existence. Yes. This is with poems about our daily life. And Biografie cu păsări, biography with birds, with some graphic by a very famous painter, Tudor Meiloiu. Yes, this is a beautiful book from all points of view, I suppose. Yes, and Mr. Poenaru, if you permit me, can I read a poem from my...
Yes, please.
Da. I read the first poem from this book.
Feeding Illusions.
Feeding Illusions. My birthday, because today is a happy day, I suppose. My birthday. I'm waiting for you. My table is full of sweets, but under the table, I fed a pistol. The bed is gorgeous, but under it, there are some guns. In the classical drawer, I put 2 ampoules with strong poison, just in case. Come into my arms, each with an atomic bomb. Come, my new day, my birthday. I was always proud of your courage. It is a courage of me to read this. Can I read another poem?
Absolutely, please.
In the rain, because here in Bucharest is very hot. It's heat, and we are waiting for rain. I will read in the rain. I walk and cry. I walk in the rain. My friends, not to see my tears. Rain and me are sisters at the same sorrow. I walk in the street with my broken umbrella. I see you every corner, and I can't stop running to your chest, as in the yesterday tube, when I pretended I'm a scarlet just to hang on your arm. I see you in front of my eyes, but you look elsewhere and smoke. You don't hear my whisper. You wait for somebody else. So it is my gift for our friends.
Very nice.
Very nice poem. Very
Thank
nice
you.
poems.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you too. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Excellent.
Thank you.
And now we'd like Robert Dunn. Robert, to take up the floor.
Hello. So I'm part of the New Writers Group
Great.
here in Sydney. I guess I'll just explain how I got into writing. So I've always written poetry since my school days, and during high school I won a local literary competition. I went to Sydney University and studied arts and literature and was published in their literary magazine. I'm also interested in music, so after that I sort of drifted into playing in a couple of bands, and then after that I sort of lost contact with my creative side in a sense. I started raising a child and paying off a mortgage and doing all those sorts of things.
So what do you play? What do you play? The guitar?
No, I play keyboards. I can play about 3 chords on the guitar.
Ah, good.
I'm sort of a one-handed keyboard player because I can multi-track the rest of it.
Well, Robert, is that a QWERTY keyboard?
Well, I work in IT, so I can play that keyboard too. Specialize in keyboards. So yeah, and like I said, I sort of had drifted away from doing my creative things. I guess I never let them go completely. Always did a bit of writing and still kept up with my music just on my own. But then I thought to myself, I really wanted to get back into actually doing some writing, and I found it quite difficult trying to motivate myself and to I guess get that sort of creative interaction happening. I found that difficult just on my own. So I found out about the New Writers Group and went along to their meetings, and I just find it very useful as a way of giving me some motivation, because writing can be a lonely activity otherwise, and I think it's good to be interacting with like-minded people. It helps, and as well as doing my own writing. The past couple of years I've been involved in some editing, which I find useful as well, because as you read other people's work, it can give you some insights into what you might want to do yourself. So that's my story pretty much. Yeah, I happen to work at the Opera House, which might be a source of interest. I don't work in the artistic side of it. My profession is IT, so that's the type of work I do. But the Opera House is an interesting environment to work in. We often have celebrities just wandering around in the corridors, or famous people of various types. And I have tried to leave there a couple of times, and I sort of never get around to it. So I've actually worked there. All my adult working life has been at that one place.
So you graduated from arts and literature, and then you are working as an IT specialist?
Yes, so that's two completely separate parts of the brain.
That's a
and actually,
good for you.
If you told me back when I was studying arts and literature that I would end up working with computers, I would say, no way, that's not going to happen. But yeah, I just sort of, I guess, drifted into it, and it's a solid form of work. It occupies one part of my brain, and then when I get home, I try to activate the other side and do the sort of creative things that I really enjoy. I mean, let's face it, there's not a lot of career prospects in being a poet. Like, you know, we try, but I guess if you were advising your own children of a profession to go into, we'd say, you know, be a bank clerk or something, and work on your creative side outside, and see what comes of it, I guess. Yeah.
What do you prefer?
What do I prefer?
From both of them. For two of them. Oh, definitely.
Between the creative and the sort of technology side. Oh, definitely prefer the creative side. If I could make a career out of it, I definitely would. And I tried journalism at one point. I sort of flirted with different things, journalism. But then I realized journalism isn't about writing so much. It's all about chasing down stories. Unless you develop further and you're actually writing feature stories and things like that, well, then maybe you can satisfy your creative side. Also, I did an audio engineering course, so that was an attempt to sort of break into the creative side of audio and music. But I guess eventually I sort of thought, well, just do the 9-to-5 job, pays the bills, and then you can relax and do your creative stuff outside of that without the pressure of, I guess, trying to earn a living from your creative output. That's one way to look at it.
And finally being yourself, yes.
Yeah.
And no, but I mean, when we are writing or making music or something else, I believe that is our truly side of us.
Yes,
our
yes,
inner.
I agree.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. And to be honest, of the two main creative things that I'm doing, I really probably enjoy music the most. It's very immediate. I find it quite satisfying to just sit down and try to compose something and or listen to a piece of music. I find it very, like I said, a very immediate sort of thing. Sometimes writing's very satisfying in the end, but it can be quite a lot of work involved to get you to that point, I find. Sorry?
Music, I said in French, music before everything else. The first is music, yes.
Yes, yes. Do you play an instrument? Or?
Yes, I played piano and guitar.
Oh, I'm jealous.
I
You can
do
probably
not-
play
Sorry.
piano well. You
I'm
can probably
sorry.
play with two hands. I can only play with one.
Oh my God, that was when I was child. I don't know if I can anymore, but that was great.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, Rob, are you going to read some of your poems to us today?
I do have a poem that I wrote a few years ago, so I guess I could read it. Should I read that now?
Sure.
Okay. So this made it to our Zine West publication in 2018. And it's probably the last serious attempt I had at writing a piece of poetry, that's a bit sad really, but I should devote more
So
time
come
to
back
it.
to it.
Yes, exactly. Okay, this one's called Sun-Kissed. She touches me discreetly, slipping in through that not contained, fingers of incandescence rousing me from where I have been. Her luminous presence grows until she is fully realized and settles upon me, bathing my mind in possibilities, like a trickle of icy water released. And soon, flooding back irreversibly, she reaches in and hauls me from darkness into the light. Eyes flung open, I burst into consciousness, searching above, beyond, for the source of this wild intrusion, only to cower under her blinding beauty, her essence untouchable.
Thank you, Robert.
Splendid.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Excellent, Rob. Okay. I think that the next on the list is Danny Draper.
So I've been writing sort of my whole life, I guess. Since I was young, I sort of was writing poems, and then with Robert, I had a little bit of success with poetry at high school. I had some good English teachers who were very fostering, which was always good. And I've always written in the sense of from emotional keys, I guess, like you know, or things that just move me emotionally in the world. And beauty, I see beauty in a lot of things. Sometimes it's connected, sometimes it's not, although I believe it's always connected. And then often about just human relationships, justice and injustice in the world. And there's a poem I'd like to read you in a little while, but it's a poem I wrote recently. I was watching a video. It's winter in Australia, obviously, and we have the most beautiful magpies in Australia, and they have the most lyrical song when they're not in breeding season. And when they're in breeding season, they try to kill everybody. But other than that, if you can get past them trying to kill you in breeding season, they are one of the most beautiful warbling birds in the world. And if they live in your area and they get to know you, they won't try and kill you. So they become your friend. So anyway, there was this video from out near Canberra, which is obviously a cold part of Australia in winter. And they showed these magpies on someone's handrail, and they were because it was cold, they had steam coming out of their mouths. So it reminded me of a little kettle. And I was sort of moved, and because of what's been going on in the world with the whole thing with Black Lives Matters, and because they are a black bird with white, or a white bird with black, or just a black and white bird, I was sort of thought about the whole idea of that because they're black and white, they really don't know what bigotry is when it comes to black and white. So I wrote this poem, and I pinched the photo from our Australian Broadcasting Corporation, and I put it on YouTube, or not YouTube, sorry, on Instagram. So, but you can do that now. You can steal photographs easily just off your telephone. So it's not my fault, it's the technology. So I thought I might read this little poem. So you can imagine this black and white bird, okay, with a little steam coming out of its mouth. It's called If Bigotry Was Even an Option. Steam, breathy magpies, squally warble, winter pot metallic churns a bliss, greets new light and familiar akin, pied harmony oblivious to hate, sees but feathery companions, sings in sun rejoicing o'er the day, fervent love would die for chicks, rewards friendship with blithe song, knows all kind, white and black, safe within one mottled skin, and would not know where to start, if bigotry was even an option.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's kind of nature and all sorts of things. So you kind of celebrate the beauty of the magpie and how it's just happy to be with its own kind and all the people around it, except for when it's breeding and trying to kill everybody. So,
Yeah.
so yeah. But if you don't know what our magpie is, look it up on YouTube. I guarantee there'll be clips of the Australian magpie, and they are quite a.
Can you hear it?
They hurt, not
Quite remarkable.
they hurt you, not
I can't get it loud
Yes, we can
enough
hear
to-
it. Yes.
You
Yes.
did hear it? Yeah, I was just trying to
Yes.
bring it up on my phone. Yeah, they are a beautiful, beautiful bird.
The other
They've
thing
got
I was
very
going to say,
big beaks.
the other thing was a few years ago, I started writing a story in poetic form, and I got the first volume done, and I've been trying, but work has sort of taken over my life. Like Robert said, that happens to people. You've got to pay the bills first, and I've written 2 other chapters in the prequel to it, but if it never happens, then the first story stands alone. I wrote it in, it was like a countdown from 10 to 1. It was written in 55 sonnets. So the first chapter had 10, and then the 10th chapter had 1 sonnet, and that was the end. So even if there's a prequel, I followed the same thing. I sort of started, I think, on 16, which is, and I try to do, I've been trying to do like what I did with movies, with having the sketches of what scenes, how scenes will work, and then I try to make sure I work them out. And sometimes I play with numbers and stuff. I'm not into numerology, but I just like playing with numbers. So 16 reminds me of the 4 seasons, and then I can actually break up the 4 seasons into different parts. So that's been very, I haven't been back to it for about a year, so I really hope I might get back to it eventually when my mind's not busy with work, because like Robert said, work is all consuming, and you do what you do. Your art lives beside it, although it infuses into it. And unfortunately, in the modern world, it's kind of meant to be kept separate, except if you are an artist, of course, who is probably unemployed in lockdown. So I'm not complaining. I've been working the whole time of COVID, so I'm very fortunate. So although I've had a twinge of envy of people that had a few days off, but that didn't last very long. So there you go. That's me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Danny.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Is Dorian Stoilescu around? I suppose so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What can I say? How can I start? Well,
And at the beginning.
Yeah. I was born in eastern Romania, so in Galati, and I did my studies in Bucharest. I got all my events post 90s, like anti-communist movements, while I was a student in University of Bucharest, and my leader was Marian Munteanu. With literature, what can I say? I published, I would say, very different stages. Like I tried first when I was in high school, but I was not so successful. Then I tried when I was around 30. I kind of had almost a volume, and I lost everything except a couple of poems that I succeeded to publish, but the notebook, I lost it. So yeah, it was a kind of tough event. I moved, I thought to immigrate first in Canada. I did my PhD in the University of Toronto, and when I applied for a job, I found a job in Australia at the University of Western Sydney. So yeah, this is how I get up and arrived in Sydney, Western Sydney. Now I live in the Blue Mountains. Some of you who don't live in Australia, you might be surprised that winter are sometimes quite cold in the night, like might be around, I don't know, 5 degrees or less. But about coming back about on poetry, like I started to write very intense a couple of years ago. I had 2 volumes of poetry so far. One is already published. It's called In Front of the Truck, În fața tirului. It was Ana Bandiana who wrote a couple of things about on the back of the on the back cover, and I published. So far, I've published, I don't know, maybe over 100 poems in different journals. Most of them from Union Writer, Romanian Union Writer, like Confluențe Literare. What else? Convorbiri literare, sintagme literare, Familia, Viața românească, Vatra. Now I'm trying to do translations from Australia, especially from Australian poets, because I'm trying to study like their lives and the poetry. I'm not just automatically translated couple of poems. I'm trying to understand them, the whole contextual cultural life and their biography and so on, and try to translate poems. Like I have from John Kinsella and from Robert Adamson. Recently I got into Poesis International, the very good Romanian journal, edited by Claudiu Comartin with Robert Adamson. So yeah, this is I would say, very important for me to learn about poetry from English to Romanian. Kind of, I'm trying to keep both languages active. Like I'm trying to write both in Romanian and English. And it's quite a challenge for me. I don't know how it's for you. Because again, I'm not trying to forget the Romanian inheritance. Like I'm trying to still publish in Romanian. And yeah, it's I published a little bit essay and short stories, but again, I don't think I'm quite skillful at high level at this side. So yeah, this will be a couple of things. I'm not sure exactly if it's okay to read a poem, maybe.
Yes, it is. Please do that.
So, separation. We no longer attempted talking to each other. That's why an orchard of oranges raised in front of us, distracting us. But we were walking slowly around, admiring it. One day we couldn't look at the face of each other. Therefore, stretching our arms to oranges, we were picking them, savoring. When we no longer tried to hold each other's hands, a row of scissors rose from us instead of nails to quietly alter and graft the trees of the orchard. Yet we weren't trying anymore to go to each other. Then an eerie disease began to come out, and all the trees began to dry out. In the end, we push each other away. That's when a tractor with metal strings grew on our backs, pulling out in our full submission all the trees from their roots. Now being far away from each other, we are silently looking down at the empty earth. Okay, that was my poem.
Very nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Now, I think that not everybody has read poems.
I
during
didn't.
this meeting. I would like Dana to
Yes, yes, yes. I
do
will be
something
happy.
from the book in English that she has
Yes,
already
yes. So
published.
it's this one, same wonderful cover that Mr. Poenaru knows, because all my books are made by the same friend, which is great, Daniel Nicolescu, which is, by the way, the director of the Romanian Institute, Cultural Institute in Lisbon right now. The name of this book is Pandora Once Again. So I will read you a poem that is called Who Needs Poetry, because we are talking of poetry, yes?
You are not going to open her box, right?
Yeah.
It's
So,
already,
sorry?
it's already
Sorry?
open Pandora box.
Yeah.
You're not opening the
Yes, 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 yes.
box.
My first, it's exactly the title of my first book that I published is Jewelry from Pandora's Box. So,
great.
Yes, so who needs poetry? Let's see. Poetry, what's this? It's like a housewife who does nothing. Just cooking, laundry, cleaning, you see? Nothing. Poetry is like a wave crashing and receding on the beach without screaming. It's so important that life couldn't exist without it. Or maybe it couldn't. Who knows? Poetry is like a smile on the face of your lover, whom you can never be sure is true. Poetry is, hey, wait a second, who needs poetry anyway? That was very interesting. It's a poem that I wrote in English directly, one of the first probably, and then I tried to translate it. Strange, no? I tried to translate it in Romanian to publish in a book, a Romanian book. And I realized I cannot. It sounds better anyway. It sounds better in English, because that is another important thing to talk about. I believe the translations. Okay, we are some Romanians here, poets or writers, whatever. Romanian is a wonderful, really a wonderful language, and all my greetings for the person who said that, yes, don't forget to speak Romanian. Okay, so translations. If you are not speaking perfectly the language that we know that, tradutore, traditore, we know that, but you need to be also a poet, especially when you're translating poetry. If you are not a poet, it's not enough to translate exactly the words, to have even the feeling. You need to have something different there to put in your translation that it will sound perfectly in both languages. So for me, I was trying to make a retroversion, if I can say like this, and it's complicated, even if I was the author. So, okay, can I write another one?
Yes, read another one, please.
Okay, so this is called Don't Worry. No one believes, no one is still believing that death comes sliding on skis with a scythe on her shoulders. You could convince no one that she is coming smoothly on the back door is true. Grinding through her teeth a fearful smile. No, my beloved, there is nothing to fear. Everything is there, written and transcribed on a white, clean page, with a sure hand, nothing gold, nothing new under the sun. We all knew that well. I was, I'm sorry, in fragile cups with careless gesture, you touch, then dip in the hot coffee, delicate langue de chat, muttering about drowning and imprudence. Then you stand up, rotate your arms like trying again to fly. You stroll a bit around the empty room with no walls, no furniture, no memories. You straighten your back solemnly and descend from the top of the slope on your tattered skis. Yesterday too, it would have been a day. Don't worry, just be happy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Mihaela, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I think that I will be short, but I will say something very important for me, and I suppose from everybody else here present. I think this is one of my best days ever, and I will explain why. So I lived in Romania, and I came to Australia when I was 40. So ever since that day, which was 23rd of August 2009, I feel, we say in Romania dor, but in English would be miss. So I miss somebody. I miss somebody from Romania always. I miss my daughter. My daughter is not now present, but she was in the beginning in this conversation. And then I miss my parents, and I miss the streets of Bucharest, and I miss a lot of other things from Romania. My friends, of course, and obviously Romanian language, which we actually speak in the house. And our son speaks Romanian quite well. And then sometimes, once a year, I expect to go to Romania and to see my parents and to see my daughter, and to see my friends and to see the streets from Bucharest. And I go there probably 1 month every year, not this year because of the pandemic thing. But when I'm in Romania, I always think about Australia, and I think about Parramatta, and I think about a New Writers Group and my friends here. And it's always like this. So I always miss somebody. I always miss something. And it's continuously doing, I'm continuously doing this. But today somehow we are together. So it's Romania and it's Australia together. We are all writers, and we love poetry, and we love literature, and we love drama. So this is why this is one of my best days, I suppose. And my daughter was here from the beginning, but now she left. She had something else to do in Romania. But she was also here, so that was even better for me. Yeah, so I'm a little bit emotional now, but anyway, what I want to tell you about myself, besides the fact that I have a master in linguistics, which probably is not any more important now, but I want to tell you about one book I have here, and this is Archetypes in Code Mixing Poetry, and it is published at E-Literatura by our host today. And thank you very much once again. It's a beautiful book, and I think it's one of the best that I had. Thank you very much. But what I want to tell you before reading one poem from here in English, I think that E-Literatura could publish a lot of other writers and poets. And today, if we are here, please exchange email addresses and Facebook accounts, and we can actually see each other every day or once a week or something like this, and you can chat between yourselves. And I think that this is another very important thing, because we live so very far, but actually we feel the same. So we can chat, we can be friends together. And our Romanian Australian anthologies of contemporary poetry and prose would say something like this also. And once again, it's English editor Sue Crawford and New Writers Group Incorporated President Carol Amos. And we have also Radu Șerban for all the illustrations in the book. I'll just show you one of them. There are different, so every year we do a different one. This was the first one, and we started after the third year at the State Library of New South Wales. So this is Pounding the Pavement, and it is a great collaboration between New Writers Group Incorporated and the Romanian writers, Romanian from Romania and Romanian writers from Australia. Yeah, so this would be it. And just a very short poem from Archetypes in Code Mixing Poetry. Code mixing because it's the way we do it now. We are Romanians living in Australia, so we speak and we deal with life in code mixing. Marks. Think before nightly waters are brought in buckets of waves, between branches and fingers, doors and circles, hands opening gates in cohering air. Picture against pavements and market days, torching joy into the forwards. Letters, humans learning letters from woods and gleam. Letters, numbers, marks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mihaela. Thank you very much.
And now we are waiting for you to say something to us.
Yeah, but before coming to that, I would like Radu to read some of his haikus in English, because he hasn't opened that book yet for us. Could you, Radu,
I'm very glad that you said that, because I was going to say, can they have special requests? And I wanted to hear Radu read one of his haikus, so this is great.
Thank you very much. As you know, haiku is very short poetry, so each poem has a title, no connection with another poem, and they are usually divided by 4 seasons. But I added to this the meditative haiku. So let me try to read some of them to you. You can guess the season. Innocent courage of buds removing their masks in bumblebee buzz. Another one, I don't know if you want to read it in Romanian too, because here, unfortunately, I composed them in Romanian and tried to translate in English.
It's up to you.
Being short, I believe we can hear it, and they will enjoy, even don't understand, they will enjoy the sound.
Okay, so this one, which was in English, curaj inocent. Mugurii își scot masca, zumzet de bondari. Another one, echo of the moon, Attic lake waves, alogeneic fish. Ecoul lunii, în lacul cel lunatic, pește alogen. Castane coapte, miresmele timpului în pocnet de jar. Roasted sweet chestnuts, the fragrance of all times in popping embers. Colindând în ger, aburul ia forma ta, înger păzitor. Caroling through frost, vapors take the shape of my guardian angel. Pe aerul sfânt, cu ochii scrii litere de rugăciune. In the holy air, you write letters of prayer with your blinking eyes.
Thank you.
Very beautiful. Thank you so much. Excellent. Now remember that this book is going to be published soon, and it will also have an ebook edition. So you can always download the ebook edition and find more about Radu's poetry. Now, among us, there are others who would like to read something from their work, and they haven't had the occasion to read so far. So, who is going to read some of their writings?
I could read a very short piece.
That'll do.
All right. I'll just have to move this a little bit.
I was waiting for you to make up your mind. Thank you.
Well, I have. My hand rests, no grips the door handle that will shut, thus finalizing my past. I stand in the present. When I take my first step away, I will be walking into my future, the yet unknown. All my belongings are packed, waiting in the car, and I don't know where I'm going. Reluctant to move, standing between the past and the future, I am suspended. A regular occurrence when you think about it, but this is different. Not a passing, careless moment, but a calculated measure. I'm saying goodbye, good riddance. I long to be rid of the mental shackles to my past. So why do I hesitate? Why is the closing of one ordinary door so difficult? The future, please God, has got to be different, better. Fear overwhelms me as I slowly shut the door. But there is nothing to stay for, even if I wanted to. The house is sold. In reality, the decision to go isn't even mine. Father made it in his will.
Thank you, Carol.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
Excellent. Yes, please. You wanted to add something, Carol?
Sorry? No, that's it.
Add something?
Short and sweet.
Yes.
Thank you. Who else would like to read? Before I start reading and bore you all.
Can't wait.
Okay, does anybody else have something that they want to share with us?
I have
Maybe-
to, sorry,
Yes.
I have to go very soon, and I would just like to take the opportunity to thank you so very, very much for arranging this. And it's been a
Thank-
delight to listen to everybody. And I hope to find out a little bit more about everybody in time to come. And it's been great. Thank you so much, Vasile, for organising this. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very
Totally
much,
agree.
Sue. And if you have 2 or 3 more minutes, maybe you can hear one of my poems.
Yes.
Please, we're ready.
Go.
Okay, then let me start with the reading and then I'll tell you something about myself. I have a poem called My Friends, which was translated a long time ago by my friend Tom Carlson, a poet and teacher of English at Memphis University Press, and it was published in 1978 in a book, in an anthology of Romanian poets. My friends. My friends read American poetry, listen to rock music, wear blue jeans, spit seeds in streetcars, pass my green from one shoulder to the other, film trivial scenes in the marketplace, have not trodden on the moon, play whist, poker and bridge, have few ideas to exchange and many, many words. Do not trust just anyone, have hearts of gold, but their speech drains the heart of the despised one. All are from Bucharest, they are not many, and we have served together in the army. And another poem, translated into English by Professor Tom Carlson. It's called T.S. Eliot, Caesarimus, the most Caesar, in Latin. Yeah, T.S. Eliot, the most Caesar, Caesarimus, Caesarimus. Exigua parte estatis relicva, let us go to the north. There are early winters, and Gallia turns to the 7 stars, shunning government. With the hand of a lord, the wind opens a gate through the fog. Neither have I trodden in those fields, nor has the blood of mists ever nurtured me. I am not the unhollow man, I am not the visionless land, Defeats have snowed me in. Above my house a serpent burns. My arm is heavy and heavy with grief, and my vine is filled with thoughts. Noah is also with me, the helmsman, and he too is alone. He gazes into the ocean, keeps stirring fresh winds, no light, and yet there is still so much summer, so much pain in childbirth. What silence grows in the north? Do you hear, Oceanus? What silence grows? What heavy flame?
Nice.
Thank
Thank
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very nice.
Special.
Some of my poems in English have been published by Mihaela in her anthologies. So thank you again for this opportunity.
We have to thank you for publishing online 2 of our books, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, a few things about myself. Well, you may be interested to know that the house I was born in the village of Milosești, in the middle of a large and very flat plain called Bărăgan. So that house didn't have electricity. It only got connected when I was already in Bucharest in the 10th form, the 10th grade at the high school. So as you can imagine, I had to read the books I was reading late in the night, using either a gas lamp or a candle. And the fact is that I liked reading so much that I was burning a lot of gas, which my parents are not very happy about. However, they understood me and supported me as much as they could. When I was 3, I got an ABC book. I laid hands on an ABC book and I started to learn reading. So by the age of 4, I was reading the Bible to my mama. And I read the whole book in an old Romanian alphabet, and it took me about 1 year, but my mother insisted that I should read the Bible because that's the most important of all books. And since then I read it like 7 more times, and I always found something new in it. And this is indeed the book that I love best. Then I read like 1 book per day at least for many years, especially during the vacations. I published my first poem when I was 12, but I started to write when I was 8. And by the age of 14, I had my first volume of poetry published. It was called My Birth into Poetry, and it was published in 1969. And after that, you know, at various intervals, I published another 6 books of poetry and many books for children and other things. I also published translation, an anthology of 50 poems by Nikita Stănescu. I translated them together with Tom Carlson, whom I mentioned. When we worked together, he was just the chief of English at Memphis University Press, but then he was a dean there. Unfortunately, he passed away. Tom Carlson and I published this book at Memphis State University Press. with a subsidy from Walter R. Smith Award in 1988. It was a great achievement, I think. Nikita Stănescu sounds very real in this anthology. And actually, most of the poems included there have been placed by various readers on the internet. So if we look for Nikita Stănescu plus Tom Carson, we can find many of them. And well, that's about it. Rob works as an IT specialist. Actually, I worked as an IT specialist, as an IT instructor, as a Cisco Systems products instructor in San Jose. I worked there from 2000 until 2004. Actually, for 4 years, I was what they call in the United States legal alien. And then during that period, I did something that was not connected to literature, but was connected to telecommunications and internet and IT and so on and so forth. And it was a very interesting period of my life. So I was not very much surprised when I heard that Rob graduated from arts and literature and then works in
yes, you had the same path.
Oh, that's about me. Now I publish books. I've been publishing books ever since the Romanian Revolution, which took part in at the end of 1898. So starting with 1990, I published the first books, but the publishing house was established during the days of revolution, the last days of December. And I have published more than 2,000 titles so far under various publishing houses. And we are eager to publish your books. All of you who are present here can send us the manuscript, and we'll dedicate ourselves to your work, the editing, the layout, the publication, and we do publish our books internationally. That is, you'll find them on the Amazon, and you know, we publish them both in print and in electronic formats. So if you are interested in working with us, we are quite open for cooperation. So that's it. Now I'll like Mihaela to round up our meeting and tell us when we are going to see one another again.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Thank you very much. A good perspective. So thank you once again to everyone for being here. Yes, Sue.
I'm sorry, I really have to go now, but thank you so much. Sorry to interrupt, but have a lovely time.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Lovely
Sue.
meeting you all. Fantastic. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
I think I soon too, but I think we're closing up, so I'm looking forward to. Thank you again for the opportunity. It's been wonderful. Been wonderful.
Thank you very much, Danny. Thank you to everyone. So Victoria Milescu, Dana Opriță, Radu Șerban, Smaranda Kafka, Robert Dunn, Sue Crawford, Carol Amos, Dorian Stoilescu, Danny Draper, and of course Vasile Poenaru. Thank you very much for this opportunity. We hope to see everybody soon. We'll talk about meeting the second time. Yes?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, and I really hope that this year or maybe next year I can come to Romania again, and to Bucharest and to Galați and to some other. Yes, thank you very much. And
summer, so we miss you.
yes, thank you very much. We'll see how it goes with the flights and everything, but the first flight will be mine, of course.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much to everyone. It was a great, absolutely great team today.
Okay, exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Vedere, la rivedere.